you got to also think about how you're building forward, right? So Caleb Wilson and Chris Cenac Jr. are two interesting pieces for the Chicago Bulls if that is where you're going at the combination, because I think this, right? If you come out of this draft with Caleb Wilson at 4 and Chris Cenac Jr. later in that first round, the front court would have instant identity. You add Modest Buzelis, Caleb Wilson, and Chris Cenac Jr. Right now, I don't know if Chris Cenac Jr. is going to be an instant starter. He is a player that is he has a lot of raw skill and his skill set to go a lot of different ways, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But with that, you have modern length, mobility, athleticism, rebounding, rim pressure, and defensive flexibility, right? Modest and Caleb Wilson are developing, like Modest is already developing to a really good on-ball defender. I think he needs to tighten up the off-ball defense. That's an awareness thing. My personal thing is that if you turn into a good on-ball defender, off-ball just comes down to just kind of your basketball IQ rising, right? And I think that's a big thing in there, and he's taking that step. I think that this is now, again, everything doesn't have to be slap, but I do think that this is kind of a modern slap lineup when you look at it. It brings the kind of the modern building of teams. Caleb Wilson is a cleaner upside swing as a star. Chris Cenac Jr. is longer, a more developmental front court piece. He can be that modern kind of do-it-all 5 that can also stretch the floor a little bit. And I do think the defensive floor for him, it can be a little bit higher than some people, or the defensive ceiling for him could be a little bit higher than some people are giving him credit for. But I do admit as well, there's some concerns about the floor of that for sure, right? And so I think when you look at it, you have Caleb Wilson as the high front court engine, along with Modest Buzelis. Chris Cenac Jr. as the long-term athletic big swing when it comes down to it. Caleb Wilson, we all know why he fits Bryson Graham's philosophies. 6'10", almost 11, 211 pounds, over 7 foot wingspan, a 9-foot standing reach, a 39-inch max vertical. The production that he had, even without the solid 3-point shooting, at 19.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks. Even though Chris Cenac Jr. isn't necessarily the biggest rim protector right now with what you saw from him, I think that you look at that and you say, hey, if you have Caleb Wilson and Modest Buzelis, like that's really good. I talked about it last year in just the minutes, right? They didn't play a lot of minutes together, but in the minutes that Jalen Smith and Modest Buzelis played, Modest at the 3 and Jalen Smith at the 4, the Chicago Bulls were a top 5 rim protecting team in those moments. And we know we didn't have the best centers to be rim protecting centers, right? So I think that you have there. And then also the elite efficiency of Caleb Wilson. Say what you will about his jump shot, but 62% true shooting, 58% actual shooting from the field. That tells me a player that understands and he's smart with what he does, right? It checks just about, like Caleb Wilson checks just about every box. He has the legit size. He has the length. He has the athleticism. And he is a physical motherfucker as well, right? So